Yo, can you guys hear me? Oh, shit, it's loud. What up, yo? Is War summoned a while again or no? I mean, it is what it is.
Well maintained.
I think that's the best way you can explain WoW. It is what it is.
Grab a weapon and get in line. Do I know you? Am I supposed to?
Well, does it sound so dead on the channel? I don't. My throat's been bothering me a lot. I don't really know why. I think there's something like there's some kind of allergy that's been affecting me very badly. But other than that, it's about it. It's not Diablo Immortal, no. Assault Girl? No, I was just not. I'm not asking for advice. I'm just telling you guys like that's what it is. Alright. Let's see this. Have you noticed you never see Zackrawrr's been giving the same party? Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Man. Am I getting credit for this? Why is this not? Oh, it's right there. I'm dumb. Diablo model is sued in China, right? I don't think it's sued. They're being sued in China? I'm pretty sure they're not being sued, man. Diablo's launch is postponed? Yeah, it's like if they're being sued, it wouldn't be postponed. It'd be like, well, it's postponed, but they have a date for it. Like, if they were being sued, they probably wouldn't have a date for it. I think there's a lot of people who, they don't like Diablo Immortal, and it's like, I mean, I don't either, right? But it's like, because they don't like it, they're willing to believe, like, misinformation, because it aligns with, like, what they think. Once they release it there, it's going to earn so much more money. I think so too. I think that Diablo Immortal is going to continue to be popular. Like, I find it to be very surprising that, what do you call it? Very surprising that people, because I saw like there was an article about it and people were saying like, oh man, Diablo Immortal is actually like a huge L because Diablo 3 sold more copies on the first day or whatever, first week. But I find that to be a bad argument. Diablo situation really interesting. Imagine thinking you need to lie about it. Well, it's that people like the reason why you have people that lie about it is really simple. It's because people will go out of their way to believe something that's not true if the thing that they believe that's not true is something that reinforces what they already thought. So it's like people, as soon as they hear like, oh, Diablo Immortal's being sued, they're just like immediately like fucking on it. You know, and it's like they're just gonna believe it no matter what. To find your Cataclysm video? Yeah, it got removed in the US. I don't know why. Think it had to do with like DMCA or something? I don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping that like I can play a little bit more WoW. I've wanted to for a while, but it's been hard to like motivate myself to play the game. It's been like pretty bad. Give me some second.
Remember my name.
Okay, let's see here. You got a mental breakdown because Diablo Immortal? I felt the same way. Yeah, it's just bad, man. It's very bad. You see the mega nerfs to Zereth Mortis raid tomorrow? Yeah, I made some comments on it on Twitter that I think some people got upset about. Basically, there's a lot of the people that are like outspoken in WoW are like super high-end players, right? And I think because of that, a lot of people get a distorted view on what people actually really want and like what would be good for the game. So like, for example, I think these people like I remember Scripe was talking about how like split raids need to be removed because the reason why Blizzard tunes the fights like really highly is because of split raids. And it's like I responded to him and I said that like, I mean, literally nobody cares about this outside of like 1,000 people. It's like nobody should take this seriously at all. And I mean, I find it to be very, very problematic that Blizzard is like the way that Race to World First happens should not even be in Blizzard's vocabulary. Like, they shouldn't even be thinking about this at all. They should be thinking about making the game good. That should be the goal, and making it good for the majority of players, not trying to like hyper maximize the fairness of an unofficial race. It's just a very very distorted view on the game. I think the reason why games like Lost Ark, for example, are so tremendously successful is, and also like I want to say like there are going to be some people like, oh no, it's all bots. Well, in Korea it's not all bots, and the game's very successful in Korea, and so like even despite the US, it's still extremely successful. And so, totally agree with Twitter post and 1% shit. Yeah, it's just that like in my mind, the entire premise that the raid is too easy if a person who plays the game professionally can beat it in a week is outrageous. It's completely outrageous that anybody would even take that seriously. Like, like it's these are people who literally, it's their job to play the game, and they play it 16 hours a day, and somehow they're the standard in which the raid should be judged off of. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So many top guilds have been disbanding recently because raiding's a major hassle. Well, the reason why top guilds are disbanding, there's a lot of reasons. One big reason is because raiding is a very large endeavor. Another reason about why they're disbanding is because raids are what do you call it? Because like you can't make any money off of the raids. So like, for example, if somebody wants to make a living playing WoW, which a lot of people do, regardless of if you think this is what they should or should not be able to do, nobody cares. There are people that want to be able to make a living playing WoW. It's basically impossible for... It's impossible for somebody to do that if they're not like the top guild. Like, that's kind of what happens. Kindring hardcore raiders sunk Wildstar so fast. Yeah, I think that if Blizzard is even thinking about, like, appealing to hardcore players, they're just... Like, WoW was a successful game for so many years because it did not appeal to hardcore players exclusively. Whereas now, like, you have, like, these just progressively harder and harder raids. And just over time, the raids become so hard that it's oppressive to anybody who doesn't play the game pretty much all the time. And it really actually wasn't always like this. I know there's some people that might think that it was. It was not. And you can go back and you can look at the way that fights were designed like 10 years ago or something. And especially like longer ago than that. They were a lot easier. And you can even go and look. Let me see here. Kill that little dick boy. There we go. Like, if you go... Here's a really good way to tell. Oh, god fucking damn it. Get out of here. What was it? 8,000 damage. Blazing bone plate. Oh, it's this. That's really cool. I didn't even know I had that. I was wondering how that did so much damage so fast. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just show you something. And people can see kind of where I'm coming from. So, like, if you go over and you look at, like, Warcraft logs, look at statistics, and then we're going to go over here and look at statistics and statistics. So, these are the amount of people who parse in Mythic WoW. These are the amount of parses that have occurred in, like, Mythic WoW rating, right? Okay, we have 30,000. So Heroic is more popular. But not really that much more. It's like 20,000, right? So like you're looking at total here, probably like 400,000, 500,000. And then normal, most people don't really parse in normal, so you know, it's not really that much. And this is 9.25, 9.2. You can look at like Heroic, it's about the same. So this is the amount of people that are completing this raid. And let's go ahead and we're gonna look at the Sunwell. So this is just Sunwell Plateau. That's come out very recently. And you can see obviously like people are just completely going apeshit, like playing this like warrior. Like there's more destruction parses in Sunwell Plateau than there are mythic parses for all of the classes put together. You think about that. Every single class put together is less than one class and one spec. And then you look at Black Temple, and this is phase 4 and phase 5. So let's just look at phase 5 again. So the truth is, like, the people that have these opinions about like WoW rating, these opinions are only opinions. They don't have data at all. Don't you think the data is skewed due to people having numerous alts and GDKP? So wait a minute, you think that evidence against my data is the fact that people play the content more? You think about what you're saying. So then, based on facts, just on ignorance. They don't. The thing is, there's a lot of people that just don't. They don't know what the numbers are. They don't know how to look at numbers, and they just have their own opinions on things. And people can have whatever opinion they want, but it doesn't mean that it's real. I'll do one more of these. Last viewer, Sepulchre, don't think you'll have fun in WoW raids ever again. It's hard to say. Why is particular raid has so many fewer clears? It's because it got tuned to be really hard. Well, that's too bad. I didn't get it. Let's see. I'll try and open up my other box. Where's my other box? There it is. Oh man, I thought I had it there. That's too bad. 125 attempts at the Zackrawrr egg. I have not even received a single one. I hate this fucking game. Let me go do it on another character. Any more LGBT characters? I'm gonna ban you if you start trying to push like your agenda, political agenda, social political agenda. Shut up. Nobody cares like what you think about gay people. Just shut up. How you feel today? I'm fine. I'm chilling. The game should get harder over time. In League, it's harder to rank now than it was 10 years ago. Well, like, do you think that, like, I mean, do you think that's been good for the game, though? Like, so you say something like the game should get harder over time. Why is that? Well, the reason why it is because you think that. That's why. You've invented this should in your own mind. This should is not reflected by any data, evidence, or information. This is the way that you feel about it. Because if you look at the popularity of League, it's only gone down. So if the game is... If the game has become a lot harder to get into, and you can correlate that with lower player numbers, I think that's actually pretty good evidence that it's probably not a good idea. Dota 2 as well. Yeah. It's the same reason why... Oh, I thought I had it. Fuck. 277 attempts on FAMU. What a day. So anyway, yeah, like... Alright, where's my fucking vendor mount? There it is. Why do you think they're determined to keep increasing the difficulty? I think it's a mix of like a lot of things. I think that one of the biggest things is the fact that a lot of the people that Blizzard interacts with are people that are high-end players. So, you know, you talk to somebody like that, and it's like from that person's perspective, you know, if all you're doing is talking to high-end players, you're going to think that the biggest problem in the game is the lack of high-end content. Or something about high-end content. Try farming wool quest for a day, single piece of transmog armor and Zackrawrr. Well, you don't have to though, do you? Like, I'm pretty sure you can just check. That's what I do. It's very good for publicity. Look at all these pro players having difficulty facing our game. Well, the thing is, like, I actually don't think that it is good. Because a lot of casual people are probably just going to be like, well, this sucks. You know, like, I'm not, you know, it's like if you watch Fortnite, for example, competitive Fortnite, I feel like watching competitive Fortnite is probably the biggest ad against playing Fortnite that you can possibly have. And like Fortnite started like exploding again. It got extremely popular again because of the no build thing. Because of that's exactly what happened, is the game got too complex and too hard to play, and casual players no longer got into the game.
Strike them down first and put an end to their threat.
Is dead again? I'm not sure if Fortnite's dead again now or not. I have no idea. I think it's undeniable that the no build played a really substantial role in popularizing the game again. I think that's just a fact. Maybe it didn't retain all the people, but you know, it still did well. I saw player numbers. I saw the amount of people talking about it. I'd have to look it up. Like, I don't think Fortnite really they don't really expose their player numbers, so it's very hard to know like how many people are like legitimately playing the game. But based off of like my experience and like my observation, yeah, I think it got a lot more popular. Classic Vanilla WoW will be popular again. Yeah, I think Vanilla WoW could be popular again. It's just that Blizzard needs to do things to change it up, make it more dynamic and different. Well, such a big franchise dead. Well, I'm not really calling it like, so basically whenever I say like a game is dead, like League of Legends is not a dead game. It's one of the most popular games in the world. I think that a game can be simultaneously like dead comparatively to where it was at, while not being explicitly like a dead game that nobody plays. So like it's obvious that I don't mean that like League is literally a dead game. I just mean that like the excitement around the game and the amount of enthusiasm around it is at a very, very low point, and the player base is smaller than it's been in 5 years. It's stagnant. Yeah. So like, yeah, maybe dead isn't really the best word to use, but I think that people, most reasonable people can, whenever I say that, they can see what I mean. No skips in the game right now. Keep my friend play as man. I was in for hours and hours of non-gear catch-up to do. The thing is, like with WoW, is that there really shouldn't be a lot of catch-up things that you have to do in the game, I think. Like basically in Dragonflight, I think that like one thing I want to see is that I want to see the like any sort of catch-up mechanism. I want to see that in the game on release. I don't want to have it be like another situation where we have to wait for like some arbitrary period of time for the game to be playable. Like it's just it's a ridiculous idea. Okay. I guess I have to go do this one too. Did you ever consider raiding Sunwell? No, I didn't. It's too much of a time commitment. I don't want to put it in to the game. I feel like it's so like the patches in Burning Crusade are so fleeting. The like value that I get out of like collecting the gear wouldn't really matter as much. Do you think Blizzard will make money off Immortal? Its other titles will become much less pay to win. No, that doesn't make sense to me. Did you get any eggs? No, of course not. Where's the mobs? At this point, would you see something add like Season of Mastery or Fresh Vanilla? I think that what they really need to do is they need to change a lot of the way that they release content and like their philosophy on content in general. And also, I think that Vanilla WoW has this huge problem where a lot of people that want to play Vanilla WoW it's like it's an unironic like you think you do but you don't. Like they want to play the original game, but whenever they have to play it, they don't want to play it. And like I think that was evidenced by what happened with a Season of Mastery, is that like people just don't want to play the same game over and over and over. Like the problem with like a seasonal game like WoW is that there's so much time investment to get to the point where you can play the game at a functional level. So like if you compare it to Path of Exile, for example, you can go through the entire campaign of Path of Exile in 2 days. I mean, there's people that go through it in 3 hours. But I think a super casual player will probably clear the PoE campaign in 2 days of casual play, right? Like, or actually serious play, right? 6 hours one day, 6 hours the next day. Probably they'll be about done with it, you know? Or they'll be pretty close, at least. So, that's what happens, right? Season Master was released too soon. No, it wasn't. The problem is the content. Season of Mastery didn't bring anything new to the table. It didn't improve the player experience, really. It just added like a very small buff to quest experience, and that was it. But what I'm saying is, like, whenever you have to level all the way up to 60, and then you have to spend so much time doing things that you don't want to do in order to do things that you do want to do, that's going to make a game bad. Leveling is part of the game. Well, it was, but the problem is that you can't really say leveling is part of the game whenever the game died because people didn't want to level. Like, I understand that, like, this is something that sounds good. It sounds like, yes, this is very true, you know, oh, leveling is great. But this is just simply, again, not reflected with evidence. And, in fact, it's the opposite. Hit a PoE because everyone told me to just rush past the leveling. Yeah, I just play through the campaign and try to enjoy it whenever I do it. I don't try to like speed run every single little second of it. It's not that bad of a campaign, and so yeah, I don't mind it. Shit. Why does it need to have a crazy active player base? Well, because I think it's good for the game, and it's good for the continual development of the game. Nobody wants Super Mario 64 to change because Odyssey is more accessible. The difference is, like, Super Mario 64 isn't really a, it's not a live game. Like, you can't really go and compare a game like that to Super Mario 64. Yeah, it's a static game. There's no expectation that it would change. It seems weird that you would use, and again, I think it's like another example, right, where people use examples that are deliberately disingenuous because the examples that would make more sense don't support what their viewpoint is. Because you obviously have games like old school RuneScape that follow a you know, an old content, but it's still, you know, like being updated regularly paradigm. So like if you're trying to bring up another game and you're not using probably like one of the most direct comparisons, I think it's because you're trying to be intentionally disingenuous. Why do people call retail bad then? Well, because there are people like, so here's really what the difference is. So people like a lot of things about classic questing and classic raiding. What people don't like is having to, it's downtime. I think downtime is fundamentally what a lot of people don't like. So like, for example, Lost Ark does a really, really good job at like really never having downtime. Like, you're always popping off, you're always doing something. And, there's not really a lot of quests. Like, you have a few things, like getting the, like, the bananas and stuff like that for, the Punica World quest or the Adventure Journal. But the majority of content in Lost Ark is not that kind of a grind, you know? And where like, you're just killing a bunch of stuff. But like in Classic WoW, for example, think of how many quests you have to do. Oops, I didn't need to pull him. Think of how many quests you needed to do that would require you to collect 10 of something, and you have to kill 30 of something in order to get 10 of them. Or like 60 of something in order to get 10. Like, these are just simply like, this is like not fun. You know, it's just like, it's annoying. And so it's like, then you do like 3 quests, and like the travel time between where you want to go, where you are, and where the quest is, right, is like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. And then, you know, that's like to and from. Or maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's 7 minutes.
We need heavy artillery to repel our foes. Help our troops.
You just feel like a bitch running errands? Well, you just feel like you're wasting your time. I think that's what it is more than anything. I think that at the point where you're making people feel like they're wasting their time, they'll stop wasting their time. There's now people have more choices of games. I think also it's just that the games, like the scope of video games has evolved. So like something that worked for a video game, let's say 5 years ago or 10 years ago, doesn't really work as much now because games have changed. Let's see, where is this? They used to have dailies in WoW, now every game has dailies. I despise. I don't really dislike dailies. I don't think dailies are fundamentally bad. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh man. Like, the problem is that dailies become bad whenever they are effectively mandatory. And you have to do, like, the way that, like, Lost Ark handles dailies, I think is great. I really do. I think it's great because, like, you don't really have to do 90% of them. And if you don't, it's not the end of the world. Nobody really cares. Maybe you don't have, like, 1 skill point potion, and that's not really gonna matter. Like, that, it's really not gonna. That's not why you're wiping in Argos. That's not why you're wiping in Vault, and it's not because you don't have a 3-point skill point potion. It's because you're bad. Or is it doesn't matter because there's no damage meters. I think that's a big factor for sure. I think WoW having damage meters does definitely make things matter more. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. But it's also like, you can look at for Burning Crusade, for example, and the way that Burning Crusade and the way that people consume content, not everybody's performing the same. But it's like, the reason why you're wiping in Burning Crusade isn't because somebody doesn't have a shoulder enchant, for example. So it's because the classes have, like, more, like, inner synergy with each other. I didn't get it. It's because the player's dog shit. Well, it's also because, like, a lot of these fights, they mainly punish people for performing badly. and like making a mechanical error more than like having low DPS. It's an oxymoron providing players with content they don't feel is repetitive, at the same time want to play at least 6 hours a day. I think that it's a lot easier to provide that than you might think. It's just it's you don't have to make it mandatory. Is she up now? I can talk to her, right? Yeah. I'll just invite people and do it myself. 7 DPS checks prevent entire mechanic cycles throughout the raids. Oh yeah, there's always things like that. So yeah, I think it really depends on individual mechanics and things like that. Ban any. I don't like. This is not a non-ban request stream. If you got banned on my main channel for something, the odds are you deserved it, and you're probably not going to get unbanned. Was last thing raided in serious capacity in a while? In Old Deer. I raided a little bit in Old Deer, and that was it. The thing is, like, I got banned for saying the truth. You know what? I bet you probably did. That's why you got. I just banned you again, because I think I recognize your name. I remember banning you on my mainstream. I just banned you again. Let's go.
Darkest greetings. Just a few more centuries.
Yeah. The ban saga continues. It's just to me, like, again, like people that bring like that level of the H word, user chat close. There's a lot of people that get banned for stupid shit. As I said, I just don't really have a lot of I don't have a lot of tolerance for that stuff. And if people are like hostile or weird, then I just he probably said Hitler or something. And so yeah, that's what I'm kind of assuming. Understandable. Well, I mean, to me, like, again, it's like I don't like having to kind of like play daycare with people. And so if somebody acts weird or hostile or anything, I just ban them, and that's it. I think most larger streams do that. There's some people that like get mad about it because they're like, oh well, you know, like I deserve to be heard. That's like, nope. And that's about it, right? Can't handle heat. No, I don't want people that bring me heat, right? I mean, like, I don't want any of that. You know, I stream and I like just talking and hanging out, and so like people that want to like elevate that into some sort of confrontation, it's just not something that I want to spend my time doing or my life doing. Okay. Nope. I don't think this one is... I guess I should just go do that one too. People call others a Nazi or for reason to make errands these days. Why are you starting shit with Stu Gaming then, huh? Disagreeing with somebody on a video that they post publicly is not the same as like going into their chat and talking shit to them constantly. And like if Stu Gaming, for example, was like, yeah, you know, I don't want you to watch my videos, it's whatever, I just wouldn't do it. Like, again, I don't really, like, I'm not trying to, like, harass somebody or whatever.
Welcome, brave soul.
Like, yeah, you can just disagree with somebody, it's not a big deal. Just do that. Fly over there.
Peace be upon you. Trust.
Are people thin-skinned? I think people just have self-respect. And there's a lot of people on the internet who are just like hostile and vitriolic, who misplace being thin-skinned, or sorry, misplaced having self-respect for being thin-skinned. Like, you go out in the real world and you talk to people like that, and I mean, in some places they're gonna slap you in the fucking face. Other places they're just gonna tell you to leave. Nobody's gonna sit around and listen to your bullshit in real life, ever, if you act like that. So why do you expect them to act like that in the on the internet? Well, it's because, you know, you think that it's different. Well, they disagree. Yeah, you do that at your job, you're fired. You do that at school, you're probably going to get suspended. It's just not, like, there's no there's no place in the universe where you know, you go to like a party and you start talking like that to people, like, you're gonna get removed. Think the rules don't apply to them? Yeah. In thin skin, they think Stu and you was hostile. It wasn't. Oh, I don't know. Doing completionist content? Yeah, basically. People grew up with the internet, so used to being bullshit on filtered viewpoint 24/7 these days. Yeah, there's a lot of people on the internet that are just like terminally online that don't really have any perspective of like their opinion in the context of other people. Did you just hear about New World to Experience weekends? Yeah, I saw it. Real self-awareness? Yeah, exactly. People saying a tyrant, nothing wrong, and you ban them 90% of the time. Oh yeah, yeah, obvious it's what it is. Genuinely looking forward to playing Final Fantasy tomorrow. Do you feel forced? I mean, that's just a weird question. I'm gonna time you out. Like, I don't, like, I think there's a lot of people that might not really understand this about me, is like, I'm, like, I get a lot of anxiety in my life, you know, I get stressed out about stupid shit a lot. And so, like, I don't want to deal with that shit, you know? Like, no, dude, I want to just sit here and play my game, man, and just relax and talk about shit. You know, like, fuck. And it's like, yeah, I'll talk about issues, but like, a person that asks a question like that, it's like, they already have, like, they want to hear one answer. This isn't like, it's not a case of people like asking it authentically. Like they're asking it because they want to hear me say one thing or another. That's why I was kind of shut it down.
Bring them all to ruin.
They already have their answer. They just want to annoy you with it. Yeah, yeah. The Internet Anonymous is a less bad idea. I don't, I mean, it's complicated. Like, there are problems with the internet being anonymous, and there's also a lot of really positives with the internet being anonymous. So I don't think it's a case where it's like, oh, well, this is, like, guaranteed good or not. Jesus Christ, it's already filled up again.
You should be proud.
Okay.
You have met your match.
Oh, that's a lot of mobs. Make sure I have that. No, it's an idea, except it's an idiot. It's a consequence of how it's built. Well, I think internet anonymity is generally a decent thing. But there are negatives to it, the same as there's negatives to everything, right? I mean... Have you seen titles and other answers to your last Twitter? No, what did they say? Okay, let me just look and see for myself. Give me a minute. Is it a quote tweet? I didn't see him say anything about it. Mystery crazy average gamer. Players are better than me. Try hard to playing the game for them is dumb. Normal orifices I might be too difficult. Roof sepulcher. I mean, again, these are the kinds of people that listen to that are trying to get Blizzard to make the game that way. Title's a lot, baby. Doesn't matter. He could have started the game last year. The fact is that, of course, somebody like Tettles is going to want to see them continuing to make content like that. His whole job's built around that. You know, like his entire job is built around competitive World of Warcraft. So it's his career, it's his entire online presence. So if competitive online, if like his, it's like I'm basically saying that like his job is invalid. So of course he's gonna be super defensive about it. I mean, it makes sense. Feels cool guy, I agree with him too. I don't really know a lot about Tettles, to be honest with you. Content doesn't need to disappear because the majority makes it easier. Well, the thing is, like, people that think like he does, let's say literally have to realm transfer, join a different guild, gift content I don't like. I mean, I will grant you this, like, at least he doesn't do, like, the thing where people will, like make tweets about me, but not say it's about me. So it's like, I don't, I mean, at least he's gonna respond to me directly, you know, that's nice. Here's the average gamer. See, like, nobody actually thinks like this. Nobody's saying this, nobody thinks like this. Artificer Zamox is beyond too far difficult, should be removed. But like, they nerfed the fight, so like, what you're saying, like, Blizzard is stupid? Like, cause Zymox got nerfed, like, I think twice. And like, Sepulchre's been nerfed like 30 times. So if Blizzard is... If Blizzard is, like, if this is actually like true, then why is Blizzard nerfing the fight over and over? It's just silly. They should have started with the nerf version, have the original version, it's just bragging rights thing, no gear, just a title. I mean... I mean, you can just look at the numbers. The numbers clearly indicate that I'm right about this. So people that are like arguing or mad about it or whatever, these people are mad at the numbers. Fuck, don't get mad at me. I didn't make the numbers that way. There he is. They nerfed the hell out of World of War 2. Though they nerfed every raid. I mean, that's just what happens. Says Anduin, no Sepulchre wasn't hard. Most of the bosses would roll target dummies. Well then, like, so if you think that, and it was just, it wasn't a hard fight, why do you think that, why do you think that it got nerfed? Doesn't know? Yeah, it's because it's not true. It's too difficult for regular players, yeah. And that's what a lot of people like Tettles don't really understand. Is that like they have like this very insular view on video games. They live their whole life like surrounded with other people that play video games like World of Warcraft at a super high level. And because of that, they don't have any perspective on like how average people consume content. Do you think anybody should be able to clear Mythic? I don't think anybody should be able to, but it's clear that having a raid difficulty that's this high doesn't produce good results. Why is it that one spec in Sunwell has more parses than every class and spec put together in Sepulchre? This is clearly not a positive. And it's like, if the game continues to be designed for, you know, like super high-end players, then everybody else who's not a high-end player is going to stop playing the game. Which is effectively what's happened. Like, World of Warcraft hasn't really lost its top 10% of players, or its bottom 10%. It's lost the 80% in the middle. Because people like that want to be challenged, but they don't want to be challenged with fucking some like cock and ball torture 20-man raid that if one person makes a mistake, it's a wipe. Like, that's not fun to do.
Our enemies gather for another assault. Strike them down first and put an
People also doing multiple clears in Sunwell a week. So, like, doesn't that mean that Sunwell's really good? Like, I feel like that supports my point of view. That, like, if you go and you say, like, well, you know, well, there's a lot of people running Sunwell every week. Well, I'm like, isn't that kind of the point, though? Find multiple difficulties, just do heroic. You're not forced to mythic. You want the gear? I think that heroic at the beginning was really hard too. Like, there were a lot of guilds that struggled with it a lot. And I think also people want to be able to progress, and people want to be able to work towards the best gear in the game. I think that's just really the truth. Like, people don't want to work towards, like, mediocre versions of the gear. They want to be able to work towards the best gear in the game. And other games allow you to do that without making you invest time, like 24, like actual, like, setting time aside. Where, like, you have to, like, okay, I'm going to play the game at this time on this day.
You have my attention.
I get a mount. Nice. That's pretty cool. I've got one of these before. I've never really done Kyrian, so I just figured I'd pick this one up. And again, like, I think what I'm really comparing it to is the way the game used to be played back in, like, 2010. Like, I'm not really comparing WoW as a game in like every single way, but it's like, if you look at like Burning Crusade or Wrath, I think the reason why a lot of those raids were, a lot of those expansions were very successful, and so was vanilla WoW, is because of the ease of access for the raids. And like, the raids were hard to get into, but whenever you got into the raid, the actions that you had to take were relatively minimal. You didn't have to do a lot, and you could get the best gear in the game. I think the problem is, like, you have people, again, like that guy who, you know, this is a person who plays the game professionally. His entire online presence is about the game. That's all he does. And so people like him continuously get better at the game over years. You know, he said he started playing in, people say he started playing in WoD. That's 8 years. Isn't that crazy? WoD came out 8 years ago. So, big surprise. A person who plays the game pretty much, I would assume, pretty much consistently and now professionally, you know, they want the game to be harder and more rewarding for people that play it all the time. But the difference is that those people continuously keep getting better at the game, where new players don't, because new players come into the game at the same level. Do you see what I'm saying? Game has to be easy enough people can go in, not have to think, get the best gear, and be put in a healthy place. I think that no, nobody thinks that. Like, nobody said that. I think that you need to have fights that are less punishing and easier to do. I think the fights in modern WoW are too hard and too punishing for people to enjoy them on, like, a large level. I think it's evidenced too by, if you look at the amount of people who, like, quit the game in Cataclysm. Like, if anybody played Cataclysm at the beginning, like, you'd know this. The raids in Cataclysm were like twice as hard as the raids in Wrath. In terms of, like, mechanics, numerical requirements, like, you really had to know what you're doing, even on normal mode. So you had, like, a huge pug culture in Wrath of the Lich King, and you see this now also with Burning Crusade. And these are people who were just, like, you know, they're just here to do the raid and, you know, chill. And, like, you would regularly have clear groups for ICC that would clear 7 of 11 or whatever, 12 of ICC. And then Cataclysm comes out, and the Cataclysm design And the fights are so hard that all of those pug groups fall apart. And all of those, like, friend groups, all of those people can't raid together anymore because, to be honest, the content's too hard for them. They were decent, but they weren't, like, super good. And because they weren't super good, they just can't really play the game anymore. And so you had a lot of people that, you know, they had, like, a friend group, and the content is so hard that it broke their friend group apart because, you know, there were too many people that get frustrated at each other, and it's just really hard and punishing. So it's like, you can, and there's always, like, these, like, gamers that will say, like, well, that's a good thing, you know, it should be hard, it should be punishing. Like, I mean, you can say that, but, like, what favors are you really doing the game whenever you have, like, people quitting on such a large scale like that, losing millions of players? They're stroking their own ego, yeah. If it's hard and punishing, don't make each fight take 30 minutes to recover from. Yeah, and then there's also, like, other little things in the game that makes it worse too. How frustrating Heroic Spine was, how frustrating Mythics must be. Heroic Spine is probably more frustrating than most Mythic raids now, I'm guessing. Heroic Spine was really bad. Should not be easy, but should not be unreachable. Yeah, it's just that it's too hard, right? Like, nobody's saying that... nobody's saying that, like, the raids should be, like, super easy, that you don't even have to pay attention at all. I think that what people are saying, what I'm saying at least, is that the raids should be rewarding, and you should feel good for completing them. And it's like, I don't want the difficulty to be a 1, but I don't want it to be a 10 either. I think it should be like a 6. And Sepulchre's a 9. Actually, Sepulchre's probably a fucking 10. And also, like, you think about it, and it's like Blizzard nerfs every single time, every single one of these, like, fights. Like, a bunch of times. Every single time that you read patch notes, there's, like, a meeting and, like, multiple, like, man hours at Blizzard that produce those patch notes. It's not like some random guy just decides, hey, let's nerf it by 10%. You know, this is a decision made by a group of people at a company. So, like, whenever you think about it, you're thinking about, like, all of the time that's being spent trying to, like, hyper maximize the difficulty of a fight. Sorry, I'm trying to change something. Give me a minute. Trying to, like, hyper balance a fight in order for people that play the game professionally to challenge them. Same shade design made Sunwell impossible in 2007. Well, you're right. But the thing is, like, Sunwell being impossible, Sunwell was really hard. Sunwell was, like, comparatively, I would say Sunwell was probably harder than Sepulchre. Like, it was viewed as being harder than Sepulchre by the player base whenever it came out. Yeah, it was really, really hard, but, like, nobody really cared because most people couldn't even get... they weren't even at Illidan, so they never even got to Sunwell. It didn't matter. The reason our hardest content in the game is to be accessible to everyone. Well, yeah, but, like, for example, like, anybody who uses that argument, it's like, this is a straw man. Like, nobody's saying that. Nobody thinks that. Yeah, it's like you're arguing against a straw man because, I don't know, you can't understand, like, any level of nuance. I don't know. Sunwell's still hard according to the logs. It was very hard back then. It was. Was it Sunwell overtuned? Sunwell was really hard. Now, it's not hard by today's standards. No. But it's hard for average players. People are struggling even now? Yeah, they are.
The traitors from my former house maintain a stronghold here. Bring them all to ruin.
I have to respond to something. Alright, where the fuck is this? Okay, I gotta do this piece of shit again. Ooh, it was crazy hard, but not ridiculously hard to get an ability nerfed by 90%. Yeah. And like, that's kind of what I'm saying, is like, you think about all of the time that Blizzard takes managing and like micro balancing the raid, like over and over and over after the patch is out. And I think that, like, you assume that they probably spent a lot of time. I do think that Blizzard probably spent a lot of time on Sepulchre trying to, like, make it balanced in a really difficult way. Right? They probably really did try and put a lot of work into making Sepulchre a hard raid. And because of that, so, like, that time itself is wasted because they just go back and they delete it effectively by making the raid easier. And then not only does that happen, but they're also spending more time, they're also spending more time after the fact trying to nerf it even further. So, like, they're basically stuck in a paradigm where they're balancing content for a group of people that it's like a fraction of a fraction of a percent. And it happens at the expense of other players. You see what I'm saying? They balance it for Mythic Raiders. Well, they don't. They clearly don't balance it for just Mythic Raiders, because if they did, then they wouldn't need to nerf it 100 times. You see what I'm saying? I'm on a heroic race 16 years now. I'm not represented at all in the current design of the game. I'm a competent player, but I desire to play with friends and folks who don't have the highest level of skill. Yeah, I think so. I think it's better to overtune than undertune. No, I think it's better to undertune fights. I don't think it's a big deal that, like, a lot of players judge the quality of a raid based off of how fast a high-end guild clears it. Meanwhile, they're not even done with heroic. They're like, oh yeah, Emerald Nightmare was easy. It's like, really? Did you clear it? Oh, well no, I didn't clear it. It's like, okay, well then shut up. Like, what are you talking about? How hard do you think Mythic should be then? I think Mythic, like, what's a raid tier that I think would be, like, a good comparison? Antorus? Yeah, maybe something like Antorus. Antorus was pretty easy. Like, I don't want to, like, say, like, 100% like this is what it should be. But honestly, I think that they should make raids a lot easier. Hellfire Citadel? Hellfire Citadel, like Mythic Archimond and Zul'Rock and Manoroth were really hard. And Tyrant Valhari was really hard too. Gorfiend? Yeah, Gorfiend was like the wall. It's like if you killed Gorfiend, you would be able to probably kill the next 3 bosses. I remember we got like a top 100 kill on Gorfiend or something. Like that was like one of our best kills we ever had in the guild. I was pretty happy about that. What the fuck? Oh, this guy's on Ragnaros, that's why. Turn it around for Race World first, even harder difficulty, keep it easier than retail. See, like, that's probably a smart idea. Like, if Blizzard wants to have a Race to World first, what I think that they should do is that they should have, like, a separate realm for people to compete on it. But, like, again, it's like, again, what, like, why is this even something that's being considered whenever the game is just not, like, there's clearly not enough content for, like, casual and semi-hardcore players, and, like, the solution to that is to make more content for people that play the game at a professional level. Like, I feel like yeah, it's a waste of development time. Okay, Blizzard has tuned for Race World first. The game's big spotlight holds any truth to it. I think the game, like, I think Blizzard does definitely. It's like one of the situations where everybody that's involved kind of wins, so it just kind of happens this way. But yeah, I do think that Blizzard does design for the Race to World first. Because like for example, I forgot who said it and like what interview it was, but like Blizzard said somewhere, I think it was Ian said that like they consider a raid undertuned if like a world first guild can clear it in 1 week. And I just think that's dumb. I think it's dumb because there's this is not like why is that the standard of quality? It doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. Quality equals difficulty, of course, yeah. Well, it's like Final Fantasy is cleared in 1 day and that's fine. Yeah. I think you should want to make fights challenging, but it's like there's a big difference between like something being challenging and something being fun to play. Like there's a lot of fights that are just like not really very fun to play. I think also like another big issue is the way that like battle reses work. I think that it would feel a lot better, at least in my mind, if like you had 3 battle reses at the start instead of 1. Like I would prefer that. That's the way it used to be, and now it's just like 1 and it recharges. Like Final Fantasy has that. Lost Ark actually doesn't have that. But I like it with Final Fantasy. Let's get stronger every time. Everyone can play and get better loots eventually. I don't know. In my opinion, I think if you took loot away from Mythic Plus, or sorry, from like Mythic Raids, everybody would stop doing them. I think it's the same thing as LFR. There's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, we play for the loot, or sorry, we play for the challenge. It's like, yeah, I mean, like, maybe that's the way that you feel, but I think a lot of people wouldn't really put themselves through the annoyance.
It is an honor to bear the torch of challenge. Use it to light the braziers that call the great houses to
What people do ultimates just for transmog?
if you are fast.
Yeah, they do, but the difference is that like ultimates require 8 people and not 20. So that's like just a massive barrier to entry difference. It's like huge. Let's see, besides that, what are some other big differences? Let me tag this piece of shit. There we go. Nice. And spawn after that, yeah. It's like also like one thing that like burned me out of like WoW raiding is like the amount of activities in the game that I have to partake in that are a waste of time. Like getting a food buff every pull. Running back to the corpse. Like those two things by themselves, and like having to rebuff every pull, those two things by themselves make me not really like raiding, because it's a waste of my time. And it's an engineered waste of time. It's not like it's not like, oh yeah, I'm mad because I'm wiping and wiping's a waste of my time. It's like insult to injury. Rebuffing, really? Yeah, I don't like it. And like, for example, like if you're trying to get a new person into your raid, it's really hard to do that if you don't have a warlock. It takes a long time. And I don't want to have to make sure I have a warlock in every single raid, you know? It's just annoying. It's outdated, yeah, it's annoying. Punishing Warlock because they have so much utility? Well, it's nothing about Warlock, right? It's just that, I don't think it's a, it's like that to me is like not fun. Like having to sit around and wait for that. So Race of World First guilds complaining about too? I think a lot of guilds are. I mean, they don't balance them correctly because they provide Hellstone and summons. I don't they provide the highest DPS in the game too? I keep seeing like these updates from Wowhead, and it's like showing the top parsing classes, and it's like, oh, it's like warlocks the whole time. It's hard to know like what's legit, you know?
Nothing sweeter than the sound of combat. Need something? I've got glory to earn.
Man, this sucks. I'm gonna do like one more character, then I'm done with this shit. Like, I've spent like an hour farming this and it just doesn't drop. And you have to get 3 of them. It's like, fuck, it's never gonna happen. Bring a Warlock to every boss if Warlock sucked. Because of Gateway and Hellstones and Rune are literally mandatory. Yeah. $400 tries and you have only 2. Yeah, it sucks. Server expansion, you want raid, make sure you get right legendary for your class or it's gimped on damage. Yeah, I think Blizzard knows that and they're changing that for Dragonflight. But we'll see what happens. It's like, it's one thing to say that that's what's going to happen. It's another thing that it's actually going to happen. I'm trying to get a Famu kill here. Remove annoyance from the game. Yeah, it's like basically you have players that they view like punishments as a requirement for a fail state. And it's like, the best example I use is like Blue Smelter Demon versus Ishin. Like, there's a very good chance that you could have died more times on Blue Smelter Demon than Ishin in like Dark Souls 2 versus Sekiro. But Ishin is like, if you asked 100 people, I bet 99 of them would say Ishin was a better fight. Well, why is that? It's because the difficulty is not, it's not fun. It's like, it's not fun to try to go through a boss door and then like get hit in the back and your character's locked there and it dies. Like, what the fuck is this? Just one of the most fair fights, yeah. I think so too. Most fights should be fun and challenging, not challenging and frustrating. Yeah, I think the frustration's gonna come on its own. Yeah, you don't really need to... Like, people are gonna be frustrated just by the nature of the fact that they're not killing the boss. Like, you don't need to make it more frustrating. It's just like, in general, like, mechanics that add insult to injury, I feel like are not fun. It's more of a fight than just difficulty too. Yeah, I think that the way that the bosses are presented in Sepulchre is pretty good. I do. I think they look pretty cool. Such a race for World First Skills Director, they're on the same page. Well, I think they are too, on most things. No, I gotta get a new mouse, man. My mouse is just fucked. I tried to do the fucking vengeful retreat thing and it just didn't go off. Fuck. Mostly good. Binary pass fail stuffs nullifies experience a lot. Yeah. I think it's just like whenever you have a game where a lot of the challenge is like waiting for the dumbest person in your group to figure it out. Maybe this is just me, but that's not really a good time. Like, I do that like once or twice and I'm done. Like, I'm not really looking forward to Vicus this week, honestly, because apparently there's a mechanic that works that way. But it's like, at least the good thing about Vicus is I only need 7 other people. Isn't that every raid and every MMO, though? No.
You are welcome here.
It's like Final Fantasy rating more. Wait for 7 other people to learn and 19 others in WoW. Yeah. I'm more frustration tolerant. I can understand that can be annoying. Yeah, for me, like, I have a very, very low tolerance for frustration. Like, if something is frustrating me, I'm done. Like, I'm just, like, immediately mad. Because I feel like my time's being wasted. Challenging soul content, you can't over Gear's Peak. That's why everybody wanted the Mage Tower back. Is there a reason Mythic rating has to be done to group of 20? I think the reason why Mythic rating is a... Like, there's like 2 minds that I have of this, right? I actually, and this is probably like not a very popular opinion, but like, I liked 40-man raids. I thought it was really cool. Like, getting everybody together. But the thing is, like, the 40-man raids were also easy. Like, you can't have really hard raids and have it be 40-man raids. So it's like, it's kind of like a fun activity, but it's not really something that's it's like enjoyable, you know? Whenever you're trying to actually like overcome something that's hard.
to their threat.
Yeah, easier mechanics. Isn't that what world bosses are? Yeah, but it's like you're not even really like there's nothing really to world bosses. Right? I mean, you're all just like super target dummies. There's no accountability for people that like are not performing. It's just that's it.
The traitors from my former house maintain a
After this one, I'm just gonna get back on my warrior and farm some other stuff. Probably should just go do Famu on him too. Let's go Vince Final Fantasy. Yeah, I've heard about that. I'm looking forward to doing the 48-man raid. That's in Stormblood too, I'm pretty sure. So I'll probably be doing it in a couple weeks or so. Maybe a week or so. It's in Eureka. Yeah, I thought so. It's where you get the Cerberus mount. Fuck. Oh. Dude, I never played this character. I have like no idea what these buttons are. Fuck. "48-man raid isn't that hard?" Yeah, I think so. Not Cerberus, you get the cube mount. Well, that's the one from killing, it's Ozumat or something like that. Ozma. It's the big circle that teleports you around. Which I thought that fight was really cool. I like that fight a lot. I should tell people should have to learn mechanics. This game should not be a pushover. People can't comprehend things. Life isn't easy. Change is impossible. Catering to weirdos can't make friends whose brain cells use challenges dumb. Yeah, I don't really think that's true. Like, a lot of the people that say stuff like that, I think most of the people that say stuff like that probably don't even play the content to begin with. And also, if they do, it's like their entire life. Like, I feel like there's like nobody that just like plays the content like semi-casually and has that viewpoint. What's critting 24k? It's just some bullshit ability that demon hunters have where like if they kill some fucking like, it's like demon spawn, you have to kill them with Throgue Wave. No in-betweens, yeah. Fodder to the flame? Is that it? Let me see. Oh, it's a covenant ability? Holy fuck. Yeah, this one here. Yeah, it's a really big heal too. That's how Rex Joy Solid Shriekwing. It's really good. Thank God this is over. Dude, I'm so fucking tired of farming this. Venture tone prices going high in Lost Ark. Most of the bots are gone. I don't know. Like, all of my adventure journal stuff is done. Like, everything like that is just totally done. I saw that, I was gonna buy gold today, and I saw that, like, the price of gold has dropped by, like, fucking 20%. It's like inflation is... Holy shit, it's so high. I got banned as well because I expressed my opinion on a beard half asleep dude. It's a bit obnoxious. Just send in a ban appeal. Yeah, there were a lot of people that like that. He's talking about the Uber Danger video where he got demonetized. Yeah, I remember that. We banned a lot of people that day. Oops. People being dicks, I don't know why. I think that they didn't like the fact that like I have a lot of like older boomer viewers, and I think that a lot of older viewers don't like the idea that people can make money online. So like whenever they see somebody making money online and then this person expresses any level of frustration around it, they get a lot of hate because there's people that are like, oh, you should just be happy that, like, you know, you're in this position at all, like it's not a real job, like it doesn't matter. Where it's like, who the hell is it? The fuck is the thing? Okay, I guess I'll just kill this instead. Who cares? It's not a real job editing a video for months. Well, it's just like people are just, I think they're just like that about content creators in general. It's like whenever a content creator expresses any frustration around their career, there's a lot of people that like are like, oh, shut up, you're just lucky that like you're in that position. Which is like, I think that a lot of people, you know, if like their job had this level of a problem, that they'd feel the same way. Totally wrong. I think it is totally wrong. Like anybody, it's like if you invest a lot of time into something and, you know, money, etc., and it's like your job effectively, and then it stops working, or like somehow it's not, like you're not getting paid for your job in a way that you find unfair. Like, I don't know. I think most people would be upset about that. I think it's a lot of people that are just living, you know, in resentment because they have like a dead-end job that they hate. And so they see somebody who's doing well, and then this person has a problem, and it's like in their mind, they're like, well, no, you shouldn't be allowed to have this problem because this isn't a problem for me. Get in a cagey. Yeah, they're wages in a cagey, that's right. And it's like, of course they're mad. Like, I'd be mad too. That's why I fucking quit my job.
Strike them down first and put an end to their threat.
So, yeah, 1,000 people will be furious to listen to them. complain about how someone else's fault a content creator does it. I think the person is just playing with a hobby. Yeah. Well, jobs that make you money is a real job. Well, of course it is. It's like the only people that are focused around if a job is a real job or not are just dumb people. Like I don't imagine that a lot of people that are like, oh my god. Oh my god, where's the eggs? Imagine thinking mukbang is a career. Well, if you can get paid for it, then it's a career. It's a job. Like, I think that's one of the best things about like a free market is that you have people that turn things that are just like insane into like a job and a career and a lifestyle, you know? It's one of the best things about having a free society is that people can find a place in the world where they can fit in and exist in that place. Bank robber is a job, you can get away with it. I'm just gonna ban you. Like, nobody said that. It's just, you're just stupid. Let's see. Yeah, it's just dumb. Where's the covenant thing? It's Night Fae Assault. I think I did all the Night Fae stuff, didn't I? I'm pretty sure. That's the dust, yeah. What happens to ban appeals? I just haven't done it yet. Pro sports players, people used to say it's not a real job, but now it is a job and it's normal. Yeah, I think that's what happens. You can't say things, you get banned. Yeah, you're right, I'm gonna ban you too. The thing is, like, I understand that there's a lot of people that get mad about this stuff, but like, I will not suffer a fool. I'm not going to waste my life explaining things to people that are stupid. I'm just not going to do it. Yeah, there's no reason to do it, and I don't have to. Let's see, what's over here? You ever thought that you're the stupid one? No, I don't think that I'm the stupid one. I don't think so at all. I try not to talk about stuff that I don't really like. Like, if you want to talk about, like, chemistry or something, like, then yeah, I think I definitely am the stupid one. Like, I don't know anything about that. But, like, no, I don't think I'm stupid at this at all. I think I'm completely right. That's why I say it. I feel about Joe Biden. So that's another thing. It's like, I don't really. To be honest with you, I don't really even know how well Joe Biden is doing. I have no idea. I hear there's a lot of inflation, like the country's doing badly, but is that because of him or is that because of things that Trump set up? I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the politics of that. Because, like, for example, what happened with Obama is, like, generally George Bush, like, the economy was very good, and then Obama took over and the economy got a lot worse, but the reason why it got worse is because of, you know, things that happened because of George Bush. Both. I think it's probably a little bit of both, too. Let's see. I guess I don't really need to do any of these. About centrism. Yeah, it's the thing is I'm very much like a centrist with a lot of things. I'm not like super extreme with most things or anything like that. I'm pretty much a kind of even-handed guy. I think that most solutions you don't really need to take an extreme perspective, and I think that extreme perspectives on things are just like massively overrepresented in media because they're the most they're the most noteworthy, you know? Like, I mean, those are the ones that are fucking, like, that's what hits the front page is like some crazy person that, yeah, it's like that's what's clickbait, right? And so that's what people always think about, but I don't really think that most people think that way or act that way at all. People are drawn to exaggeration. Yeah, it's just more appealing. So it's like the 5% seems like 50%, but it's really not. It's just 5%. Say media is help facilitating radicalization of people. I think the media does do that. I think the media plays a tremendous role in radicalizing people and making social conflict worse. I think the media is overwhelmingly the enemy of the people. How does this work again? Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's see. How does this work again? I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. Uh-oh. I haven't done this in a long time, guys. Sorry. I'm a bit new. Make an add-on for it? No, I think you just have to learn the pattern recognition, and I'm just not used to it, and so... Honestly, I'm trying to think about a bunch of other stuff, so I'm kind of like mentally AFK. Remember I did it like diagonally or something? Because like the thing is, the way that these things work is that you have to produce like a puzzle. Make Pokepok do it? It's crazy, I messed it up a lot. Last time I did this, it was so fast. Let's see, so I did this, right? No. Should just reset it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna reset it. I'll try it again. There we go. Okay. There it is. It's been a while. I wish I could do more of those. I wish all of them were just the puzzles. But yeah, anyway, only crossing the ley lines. The ley lines are too easy. I think they're too easy. Nastar puzzles were fun. I like the Nastar puzzles too. But yeah, anyway, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, people get like they get so wrapped up in like these ideological extremes that I think they lose touch with reality. And it's like most people don't want a revolution. They don't want to have like you know, they don't want the world to change completely. These people just want to be able to go to work and not be fucked with by the government, you know. I think that's just what most people want. I don't think that they want like a massive overhaul to society. Is it the country's worst place under Trump was president? Centrist. Well, I have to admit that the country was worse than ever Trump. Like I don't know. Like there were a lot of things that were bad. Like I mean, sure. Like, I never said that. Like I never like what do you think that I said? I'm just confused. No concept, the horrors of violent revolution. Well, I think people think that it's you know, I'll be okay. It'll be okay. Wait, the base messages? Yeah, I just ban people that post bait messages. Current WoW has too many currencies? No, I don't think currencies matter. Because most people don't even interact with most currencies. Having a lot of currencies sounds like a game developer problem, not a player problem. Revolution, redistribution of income, rich get richer, poor get poorer, it sucks. Well, that's always what's going to happen. It's never going to be different than that. Like every society in human history has had massive wealth inequality, and there's never going to be a point where like, okay, you know, people have decided that wealth inequality is bad now, and so we're not going to do it anymore. It's just not going to happen because people are unequal, and so the outcome of what they do is going to be unequal too. To what extent though? I think people don't really care about like massive wealth inequality as long as they are able to like make a decent living. Right? It's like, you know, they probably don't care how many billionaires there are, but like whenever it's hard for them to like pay for like diapers for their baby, that's whenever they're pissed off. People with wealth like wealth inequality. I think there's a lot of people that don't mind wealth inequality because they've convinced themselves that they're one day going to be the person that has the money. I think that's one of the most powerful like techniques of persuasion with it, is that people believe it's like, well, yeah, you know, the world, it's unequal, but like I'm going to be in their spot, right? Temporarily in Belarus moment. Yeah, that's the phrase that some people use.
What industrious creatures? But must they build their hives everywhere?
Tethos, I guess I'll go kill him. IRL copium, yeah. Well, it's true that like, you know, there are people that, you know, they grow up and they don't have a lot of money, and they get older and they're successful and they're rich. I mean, this absolutely happens all the time. So like, it's not that it's always wrong, it's just that it's not something that you should like base the world off of. all these mobs doing? Holy shit. Yeah. Were you very well off growing up? No, I was quite poor. I mean, I like, we had food stamps. Like, I had my internet turned off. We spent like a year or two without like hot water. I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, it definitely could have been worse. I wasn't homeless. But yeah, I grew up pretty poor. Yeah. Food stamps right now. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the way it goes. So sorry, it doesn't matter. There's plenty of people that have bad shit happen to them. Like, it's just, it is what it is, right? I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, it was probably better that I grew up that way, rather than, like, growing up, like, very well off. It's like, if I could go back and, like, change anything in, like, my life, I really wouldn't change anything. Made you become a nihilist, not trying to bait anything? I think it's I think a lot of it is the shortcomings and the personal nature of people's morality that I find to be very lackluster. It's like many people, like their morality is just an extension of their own personal gain. Throw away cigarettes right now, right? Well, I mean, you can't really make somebody stop smoking. Like, I understand that, like, people think that you can, but, like, if you've ever been around a person that, like, tries to smoke, like, you have to take away that person's, like, absolute complete autonomy to be themselves and to be a human being. And it's like, if you take away somebody's ability to be a human being, then aren't they already dead? It's and also, like, you introduce, like, a huge amount of, like, hostility and anger and, like, futility to your life. It's just it's not as easy as people think that it is. Living mad, yeah, it's brutal. It's not worth it. Well, it's not if it's worth it or not. It's that it's an action with, like, a severe consequence. And it also doesn't always work. Like, for example, there's a lot of times where you're able to there's one, right? Yeah, there we go. You're able to get people to, like, see where you're coming from in one way or another, but other times where you're not. So as the individual must take the first step. Yeah, you just can't. You can't. I've always been, like, a pretty firm believer that you can't really make people do something. And if you do, it's like through a tremendous. There's a tremendous cost to it. It's never like you can just. Oh fuck! God damn it. Hopefully this guy's a little healthy. Yeah, he is. I'll pick it up after this. Yeah, you can't make people do something. And I think people will always criticize somebody else for, like, not taking what they believe to be, like, the right action. Like, I'll think about that sometimes with, like, my mom. It's like, oh man, maybe I could have done X or Y thing. But the truth is that, you know, it's her own life, and you just can't, you can't stop somebody from doing what they're gonna do. It's awful. I mean, like, I would never smoke, I'll tell you that. But it's impossible to try to control another person. And it's usually, like, more hassle than it's worth. Because like also there's a lot of people that like if you try and do that to them, they will like self-sabotage. Or they'll do something else that's like harmful instead. It sucks, man.
Well fought.
Cool, I got an
Don't
item.
allow these sacred lands to be scavenged and left in the ruins.
Let's hit the vaping, but I never get anywhere to try and get her to stop. Yeah, I mean, I think that you should try to like negotiate with people and try to get them to stop. Yeah, sure. But like you just can't, you can't make it happen. You know, people are gonna do what they want, man. Heard about quit smoking for 40 years, cold turkey. Yeah.
What creatures fill this area? We try to stop
There
them,
are a
but
lot of people that
it
quit
has not
smoking.
gone well. Please help
And
us.
it's like, at the end of the day, like, it's kind of like what I've said with a lot of things. Like, you can talk about, like, how hard it is for you and everything like that, but there's a million other people out there, literally, that have overcome what you say you can't overcome. And so it's like, whenever you die to this, you know, it's like, what do you want it to, what do you want it to say on your gravestone? Oh, well, you know, they, you know, it's too hard, they can't do it, or like, that's, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, like, how hard you try on something or how difficult it is. It only matters what you do. Everything else is just, it's all just noise. Do or do not, there's no try. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Who's playing WoW again? Yeah, I'm playing WoW again. Why would I not play WoW? I like playing WoW. I stopped playing for a while because I was bored, and now I feel like playing again, so I'm playing again. That's about it. Nothing too crazy. You know, for something it's gonna backfire with that person. Yeah, I think so. I think it happens with a lot of people. You still farming rep for the Enlightened? Yeah, I am. I haven't even really tried to get exalted. Like, to be honest, I haven't really played a lot of the patch at all. Like, I probably put in, I mean, I've played a lot. I probably put in like 100 hours, 200 or 300 hours. But like, it's not like I've played it intensively.
Wonderful. You have managed to salvage something.
I'm gonna see if I can get some of these moss-worn chests. Oh fuck, what did I get, dazed? We'll kill this thing. Sign a contract with the Enlightened. Yeah, I know I should do that. The taste of sooner talked about you? Crazy? Yeah, I know. The Ted Cruz thing is going to be pretty nuts. There have been some people who have been unhappy at the fact that I contacted Ted Cruz, but I think that it was the right decision. Okay, yeah. Like, usually I will, usually I like, I have a plan, right? Now, the plan does not always work, but, there is a plan. Don't be easy on him. I will do whatever I think will achieve my goal. So this is something that a lot of people don't really realize, and I think that it's something that, like, I am very much a results-oriented person. I don't care how hard somebody tries. I don't care about anything. I don't care about how they feel about it. It's like, you know, things exist in a binary to me, where if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. And that's it to me. Like, everything else is fine print. So whenever I look at something, I look at it from the perspective of, like, how can I approach this problem that will give me the highest rate of success possible. I believe in gray shades. Not in an ultimate sense. The ultimate sense is that either something happened or it did not happen. Ted Cruz is going to meet with you because he wants to reach a new segment of voters. I hope that's true, because that means that he has a goal that can be aligned with my own goal, which is what I really care about. Like, my goal is to have loot boxes banned, and so anything that will help me move towards that goal is what I will do. Oh, that's bad. I'm just gonna fight him from the front, man. Fuck that. I don't want to deal with the spinny boys. So it's actually better for me if he's trying to do it in, like, a way that's self-serving, because it's always best if people will act in your best interest and if their own best interest is also in mind, because they'll work harder that way. And they'll take it more seriously. Like, it's in my mind, I want to create a situation where it's in someone's best interest to do what I want them to do. And to the extent that it happens, that person receives a reward for it. So, like, for example, like, you guys might not know this, but I pay everybody that, like, does work for me, like editors, right? I pay them on a percentage. I don't pay them a salary. I pay them a percentage of the money that they that the channels make. Damn, that's a dubby. Because that's what's motivating to make that. Must be a lot. It can be, yeah, it is. Why do you think the government should intervene with the loot box stuff? I think that the government does have a certain responsibility at protecting people from consumer unfriendly practices. And I don't really think that Ted Cruz is a complete libertarian on the issue either, because I think that he's expressed, you know, a frustration with the way that social media is run. And so it's like, I don't like to look at things ideologically, because I think that ideologically you can turn something into something that it's not. So, like, my point of view is that I feel like they are predatory, they are they're misleading, and they're also affecting kids. And not only are they affecting kids, but they are directly marketed towards kids. It affects people. Oh, it does affect people, because, like, I've done a lot of research on this, and I will continue to do research on this, so I can just I'll just know what's actually going on. And so there's some level of regulation anyway, like foodstuffs. Yeah, it's like, that's what I'm saying, right? Is like, regulation, I think, is generally regulation should be a last resort. But I think regulation should usually happen like, all free industry is not good, and I think that the truth is that free industry is usually, there's a financial incentive for free industry to not be good, because usually consumer unfriendly practices happen at a spectrum where, like, the more consumer unfriendly something is, the more money it makes. My dad's calling me. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. So, yeah, I've got to go with my, my dad in like 45 minutes or so. Yeah, he told me, he's like, yeah, I'll be ready in like a half hour, and it's like, he told me to be ready in an hour, and that was at like 12:30, and it's just like, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like schedule my whole day around this, because he's just takes his time. But yeah, what do you call it? I said the interview, if he's a Zodiac killer. I don't know, maybe. Like, I don't want to do something that, like, as I said, I will only do things that advance my goal. And so, if I think it would be funny based off of, you know, the interview, like, then I would maybe do something like that, but I only really care about getting what I want, and everything else besides that is just doesn't matter to me. It's a distraction. Ultimate goal regulation. Yes, ultimate goal was the removal of loot boxes entirely. I think that loot boxes are gambling, and I don't think that they should be in video games. Period. Ditching Master Stream? I might have to. Like, I told them I had other shit going on today. I have the meeting too. Like, I want to go on Max's stream and talk about it, but I don't know if I'll have time. It's not that I don't want to. I've just had a lot of... I have to deal with my dad, who's just... it's like he has no frame of reference for, like, what I'm gonna do with my time in a day. And so he's just like, yeah, you know, it'll just be whenever I'm ready. It's like, okay, well, there's like always some level of reason why it can't be whenever I need it to be. But it's not a big deal. Like, it's like, it's just annoying. Loot boxes are a scam. Yeah, I think so too. Have you considered asking for gambling on Twitch to be banned? I think that's something that, like, so gambling on Twitch to be banned. I think that gambling should be banned on Twitch. I'm very much a fan of that. Is it something that, I don't think it should be legislated necessarily. It's like, again, I feel like legislation is what happens whenever self-regulation doesn't happen. So like I wouldn't really say like it should be legislated, because I still feel like Twitch hasn't really made as much time. They haven't done as much time really with the issue, right? Definition. Yeah, I think so. Secondly, all the streamers are outside of the US. It's not a tough situation at all if you look at it. Like, I don't respect or care about the law. That's one thing you have to understand about me. I don't care about the law. I don't care about what the law says. It doesn't matter to me. Rules are irrelevant. The only thing that matters to me is what the rules represent. So there are some rules that I agree with and some rules that I don't agree with. So what does that mean? That means that if something is technically okay, but it violates what I believe to be the essence of what the law is trying to prevent, I view it as just being as bad as being against the law. Because I don't really care about what it says in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Give an example. Yeah. So like with Diablo Immortal. You technically do not buy loot boxes in Diablo Immortal. You buy crests that you then use to open up loot boxes. Or to empower runs that are technically gameplay, but at the same time, they're not technically loot boxes, right? You see kind of what I'm saying? Isn't that the same thing, though? Yes, but I don't view it as the same thing. Even though you can make a technical argument, I do not care about technical arguments because everybody knows what it is and that's all there is to it. Yeah, I don't care. TCG is more obvious loot box, yet they're okay. I think that you can make a lot of arguments for other things that are outside of video games. And like, yeah, sure, you can make that argument, and I think that it's wrong. But we're not talking about TCG cards, we're talking about loot boxes. The TCG cards are not in my vocabulary, it's not part of the scope of what I'm thinking about. I don't care about those as much. Logic has to apply to all of them now? No, it doesn't. Why does it have to apply to every single situation? There's no logic that applies to every single situation. There's always going to be differences and nuances that exist in every single thing. That's why you can't cherry pick. It's not cherry picking. Do you consider FIFA packs as TCG or loot boxes? I consider them as loot boxes. To me, I think that really what I would look at is like the gaming, the way that they are implemented into video games. So like there are two major differences with TCG, and I know people try to, they try to obfuscate and like muddy the waters by creating these like disingenuous comparisons like TCG. Trading cards are fundamentally different than loot boxes in a number of ways, but two of the biggest ways that they're different is that, number one, it's a physical product that you own. Whenever you buy a TCG pack, you own those cards. You have true ownership of those cards. You can hold them, you have autonomy to do with those cards what you want. Also, you can resell them. Also, the second difference is that you can purchase a TCG card instead of purchasing the box for the card. I think that the idea of digital scarcity is an oxymoron. I don't place any value in digital scarcity. I don't think that it exists. It's fake. It's ridiculous. And there's literally no comparison to actual scarcity in terms of physical goods. Yeah, it's just moron thinking. Exactly. Spends half life collecting digital mounts. The difference is that I don't really think that these mounts have value, right? Like this is something I do for fun. I can collect all mounts all day, but it doesn't make the mounts have any value. Again, it's a low IQ rebuttal because you don't even understand. You're imposing a viewpoint on me that I don't have. The people who print the sports cards determine the scarcity, therefore there's no difference. There is a tremendous difference between physical scarcity and digital scarcity. Physical scarcity exists, digital scarcity does not exist. There are instances where physical scarcity can exist. A Stradivarius violin, for example. It cannot be recreated. There are no instances where digital scarcity exists. What's this here? There is, but it's artificially created. Yeah, so then there's not. So, I mean, if your argument is that, yes, there is, but it's not real, well, then it's not real. What's real? I think that there are some people who become so open-minded their brain falls out. And I think this is really what happens whenever you have people that are terminally online and they've become disconnected from reality. The scarcity of a file on a computer is not the same as the scarcity of a physical product. These are just simply not the same things. On the most fundamental level, they are not the same thing. Blockchain and Bitcoin. What exactly is scarce about that? I think these are people, like, again, it's people that spend so much time in their own insular world that they never ask themselves the obvious questions. It reminds me a lot of, like, people that are, like, super religious, and then those people start, you know, they never ask the questions like, well, what about, like, carbon dating? What about, like, a million other things that, like, immediately disproves? Like, where'd all the water go from the flood? If questions like this that are just like kind of common sense. It's like, how could Jonah live in a whale where there's no oxygen? And it's like that they spend so much time talking with other people that never question these types of beliefs, that what happens is that they use like these tautological circular arguments to explain things that don't make sense. Blockchain is scarce for the sake of being scarce, not because there's actual reason for it being scarce. Exactly. Yeah, it's artificial. God works in mysterious ways. Yeah, people have plenty of dumb reasonings for things. Modernity syndrome, literally taking Bible and science metaphorically. Yeah, sure. I mean, you can make the argument that everything is a metaphor and it didn't really happen. Sure. I mean, I think if you extrapolate that metaphor, like basically the people that use the get out of jail free card of everything is a metaphor don't actually think everything is a metaphor. They only think that the things that can be provably like determined as false are metaphors and everything else is real. That's usually what they believe. They pick and choose, yeah. You can say a lot of undeniably valuable things are only artificially scarce. Does it matter at the end of the day? Yes, it does matter at the end of the day. Loot box is the same as raid drop chances, even if you don't pay for the raid. Why would I consider them the same if the fundamental problem is about spending money? So it can be unmastered. Let me see. Said he added me on Discord. Let me just look and see. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I added him. It's been like 5 or 10 minutes and like I can probably talk for like 20 minutes or so, but like I just don't really have a whole lot of time. So like I don't know like what his schedule's like. I don't want to have people like have to like reschedule and do things differently because of me. Oh fuck. You got an interview of Vampire Star at Tonkel? I might, I don't know. Alright. Yeah, I'll talk to Max a little bit about it. I just don't have a whole lot of time. Mortis, yeah, I know. But yeah, I think that that's generally the way that I look at things, is that like I don't really care a lot about exceptions. I'm very much a Like, this could sound like kind of like, you know, like the trolley problem, for example? Of, like, you know, saving one person or saving a bunch of people. Like like that whole thing. Or they're killing him, yeah. Like, that would never be a question to me. I always just look at what's best for the most people, and I do that. You know, it's not, yeah, I just immediately do that. That's it. Ethical dilemma. For me, it's not a dilemma. Who's this son of a bitch? Oh, there he is. Of course, my friend. What if? Everything's different. I don't know. There's like a million different situations, and it's like, yeah, there are plenty of exceptions to different things. Like, I just, not about that really, but like, yeah, I'm very much utilitarian, and so, I think that really the reason why is because it's the easiest. It's actually the easiest thing to do. Because you can quantify what what is best for most people. How do you know what's best for people? Well, you have to make a judgment call. I think that there's a lot of people who, they're afraid of taking accountability for things, and they're afraid of like actually doing anything, so they just do nothing, and they view doing nothing as being this is like the ethical solution. It's like, well, you can't, yeah, you can't know what's best for everybody, so just do nothing. Well, you have to try. Like not voting on elections? I don't vote on things that I don't know about. Like, for example, like there's a lot of, you know, different propositions or like candidates that I don't know. And I just don't vote on those people. Which I find to be the more responsible thing to do. The true Ted Cruz can use Asmongold to look respectable to Twitch viewers? I hope so. Then it would be in his best interest to give us what we want. It's always best whenever people's interests converge with your own. What do you want him to look respectable? Because it's not about him. It's about achieving the goal. And I'll do anything to achieve the goals that I want. That's why. Okay, you're not voting because you don't know? Yeah, I think not knowing... Like, I basically... It's not that I don't vote that I don't know. I let that person make another person make a decision